Hi friends, how are you today? As you know, I love books, I love good stories, and I love sharing them with you. And I have a special Valentine story today. It's called Cranberry Valentine, and it's written by Wende Devlin and illustrated by her husband, Harry Devlin. And yes, it's part of the Cranberry series with Cranberry Thanksgiving, Cranberry Christmas, and this one's Cranberry Valentine. So I hope you like it as much as I do. Let's get started. It was a gray February day in Cranberryport, and the warm fire was welcome in Grandmother's kitchen. Maggie, Grandmother, and Mr. Whiskers sat around the table amid ribbon and lace and pink hearts. Maggie was making valentines for her friends. Valentine's Day was only a week away. Mr. Whiskers, Maggie's friend and neighbor, looked wistful.
When I was in school, no one ever sent me a valentine, he said. Never.
Later, after Mr. Whiskers had returned to his little gray cottage over the dunes, Maggie spoke to Grandmother. Poor Mr. Whiskers, I feel sorry for him. He's never gotten a valentine. Grandmother was in a rush. I'm off to my sewing circle, Maggie. Can we talk about this tonight? 2 days later, Mr. Whiskers' fortune had changed, but he didn't think it was for the better.
It's terrible! Maggie, look what someone sent me!
He stood at Maggie's door in a fury and waved a frothy lace valentine in the air.
It's all about cupids, lovebirds, hearts, and flowers, and it smells like rose perfume.
He wrinkled his nose. How sweet, said Maggie.
Revolting, said Mr. Whiskers. Who did it?
I wonder if it could have been that lady in the green coat. Yesterday, she asked me where you lived, said Maggie. Mr. Whiskers didn't worry about too much until he received 3 more fragrant valentines at the Cranberryport post office the very next day. He quickly hid them under his coat. Now Mr. Whiskers was getting nervous. At Seth's general store, 2 more greetings for Mr. Whiskers appeared mysteriously.
Gosh, listen to this one, Mr. Whiskers, cried Seth. Little Cupid shot his dart. Love for you has filled my heart. Be my Valentine.
Look at his face. Mr. Whiskers turned red and hid his face behind the mops. Oh.
Say, all week some lady in a green coat has been here asking questions about you, said Seth. Suffering codfish! Somebody's after me, groaned Mr. Whiskers.
Could be, said Seth.
Why me?
Asked Mr. Whiskers. Then he reflected.
Well, why not? I'm the best clam digger in Bog County. I have wonderful whiskers. I sing like a blinking bird.
Seth broke into Mr. Whiskers' shining thoughts. Now, Mr. Whiskers, if some lady gives you a present this Valentine's Day, you should have a box of chocolates to give in return. A gentleman would. Mr. Whiskers looked terrified at the idea. Seth chose a red satin heart-shaped box and handed it to his friend. At the sound of the door opening, the storekeeper looked up.
Oh, here comes the lady who's been looking for you, said Seth. Ma'am, I'd like to introduce Mr. Whiskers.
The lady in the green coat. Mr. Whiskers froze. He was trapped like a fly in a honey pot. The lady in the green coat flew across the room to him. Aha, Mr. Whiskers at last. I've been looking for you everywhere. I hear you are the best man in town to fix an old chimney.
Fix the chimney? That's all? It'll be a pleasure, ma'am.
When the lady in the green coat left, Mr. Whiskers did a sailor's jig.
Saved, he cried. I'll give the candy to Maggie and grandmother, he decided.
Silly Mr. Whiskers. He whisked all the way to their house on the edge of the bog.
At the door, he bowed deeply to Maggie. Candy for my best friends, he announced.
Come in, said Maggie. Look, Grandmother, Mr. Whiskers has a present for the whole sewing circle. Look at his face again.
Mr. Whiskers heard a hum of voices in the parlor. Oh, well, I don't know. Mr. Whiskers hesitated.
Candy for all of us? Asked Grandmother. The ladies in the circle stopped their sewing and looked up. They began to smile. How did you know it was the sewing circle who was sending all those valentines? We've been trying to keep you guessing, and all the time you knew it was us, declared Grandmother.
Mr. Whiskers shuffled his feet.
Suddenly, he put it all together. These were the secret admirers who had scared him with the valentines. He drew a breath.
Knew? Of course I knew, he sputtered. Suffering codfish. You can't fool an old seabird like me.
Grandmother seated him near the fire with tea and cake. When the red satin box was passed, he poked 4 chocolates before he found the one with a caramel filling. Grandmother pretended not to see. Mr. Whiskers beamed. It wasn't so bad being the Valentine of the whole sewing circle, he decided. Valentine's Day could be a wonderful day for people to think of one another. Now he could hardly wait for next year. Aw, isn't that a good story? And at the back of the book, of course, is a recipe for cranberry upside down cake. So you can make something yummy too. And that is the wonderful story, Cranberry Valentine. I hope you liked it as much as I do, and I hope you're having a great day. See you soon, friends. Bye now.